Throb forever. Yo, heart throb.
The thing I want to address now is the talking point that some African immigrants, or even people in Africa, Caribbean immigrants, and they don't even have to be black immigrants at all. They could just be, demographics from another ethnicity, period, another race, period. But one of their main talking points that they like to say against American blacks is that, well, that's why y'all were slaves. Yeah, that's why y'all were slaves and we did this or we did that, or the white man did this to you and did that to you. Yeah, that's why y'all were slaves. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because on one hand, they're saying that American blacks are divisive and even racist for delineating, for drawing a definitive line in the sand and saying that we are these people, this is our culture, and we're not going to allow you to erase our culture or minimize our existence and our ancestors' sacrifice for us to be here today, along with our accomplishments and their accomplishments. We're not going to allow you to denigrate that and take that away, nor are we going to allow you to step in and hijack it and claim that you are the people of this lineage and of this flat out historical survival magnificence. So I'm bringing this up, because they'll say, well, that's why you were slaves. We came by planes and y'all came in chains, all that type of stuff. So my point is, if you aren't against American blacks or FBA, why are you saying that? You see, the thing with it is that when we ask you, why are you so angry about us identifying our own ethnic group by lineage and by historicity, the responses that you give don't make sense. Like you'll say, well, we're against it because you're divisive. But then our counter to that is, well, y'all have your own culture, Caribbean Day, whatever African holidays you have, whatever Hispanic, Latino, holidays and things like that you have. Our counter to that is that, so it's okay for you to delineate and show your ethnic uniqueness, but it's a major problem when American blacks do the same thing. When y'all are celebrating your history, it's not all inclusive. We're definitely excluded. Now, we may be able to come through and, buy, your food and participate in the festivities of it, but we're not permitted to claim that. So, but it becomes a problem when American blacks do that. You see, this is the juxtaposition of it. So the question flips back to, so you can't use that point to say, well, it's because you guys show division and this and that. So when you say y'all were slaves and this is why this and that, and this is why this and that. So what is the reason that you are against American blacks or FBA's delineating? What's the reason? Then you'll come and say, well, it's because y'all try to act like y'all better than everybody and this and that. And, on the surface, it sounds like it has grounds. But then when you address it and examine it, it doesn't have grounds either. Why? Because there are people in every ethnic group that behave like that. You can't say that all, 50 something million or high 40 something million people in the American black ethnicity feel or think that way. Because by logic alone, you would have to say, well, clearly there are other ethnic groups, other races that feel that they're better than other people, but you're not coming at them with it. So that one doesn't stand either. So we'll ask you again. That's why y'all were slaves. This is why y'all were slaves. What's your reason as to why you're against American blacks identifying that they are a unique ethnic group? And I had someone post on my channel that my last post, "If you're dumb, don't listen," was an open racist agenda. So I challenged the person very cordially. If it's an open racist agenda, show empirically what statements were made that were open racist agenda, and I'll gladly apologize to you and the public and remove the video. You know, this person wouldn't show what it was at all because he didn't have a point. These are just tactics, like, because they, really have no grounds. But back to the bigger point of this, that's why y'all were slaves and this and that. Here's what I'm going to tell my FBAs and American blacks right now. What they're saying when they say that, well, that's why you were slaves. See, American blacks, FBAs, we thought that, slavery and colonization happened in every black geographical part of the world. But if they're saying to us that you were slaves, see, we weren't slaves, you were slaves, they really don't understand how magnanimous that is. Because what they're indirectly saying is, no, we weren't part of the transatlantic slave trade, which I don't personally believe in entirety. I think it was the intra-Atlantic slave trade primarily. That's what I believe. Not saying that some of them didn't come from over there, but I think it was an intra-Atlantic slave trade, meaning from the autochthonous peoples that were already in the Americas being transported back and forth up and down North America, Central America, and South America for slavery and displacement, and then ultimately out of the Americas into Europe and Africa and Asia. No, that might be kind of hard for some of you to wrap your minds around, but get into this concept of intra-Atlantic, not transatlantic. So, but what they don't understand is that they are essentially saying, yeah, we weren't slaves, which definitively would exclude them from trying to have any type of connection to a lineage of slavery. Do y'all see that? So if they're going to sit around and say, that's why you were slaves. No, we weren't enslaved. You hear the Nigerians say that. No, we weren't enslaved. You hear the Ethiopians say that. Well, we're the only people who never were enslaved. You see? So when you start looking at these things, there's a lot more questions that have to be asked and considered. Because the biggest problem is, if you were the people that we came from, and this just sheds another light on the sickness of this whole ordeal. If you are the people that we came from, whatever region in Africa that we supposedly came from, you sold your own people into slavery and then have the nerve to mock them about it centuries later? But this is supposed to be your own people. On one hand, when you're trying to get money from governments, oh, those were our people and this and this and that. But then on the other hand, at the same time, you're telling these descendants of those people that got shipped away from your country, supposedly, that they're not shit to you. That's kind of weird. It's real weird, real janky, real dishonest. So on one hand, you coming out of your mouth, that's why y'all were slaves. And that's why this and that. And that's why, we wish the white man would do this and that. And then on the other hand, well, y'all came from Africa and this and that. Like, why you hate this people, but you don't want to detach from them? And then you'll say that the main problem you have with them is because they employ divisiveness and an air of elitism over everybody else, but you're never on the platforms nor talking to the individuals in other ethnic groups that are and have been so overtly racist and demonic. You never say anything to them. You're only always focused on trying to silence and quell any type of understanding that comes from American blacks, FBAs. This is really strange because the people who colonized your country, removed your tribes and did whatever they did to them, these people you have nothing to say to. You have nothing to say to the people who've done that to you, being Europeans. And even historically, Asians who are over there now wreaking havoc on all of your stuff. Yeah, and, I'm kind of like all over the place, just going from topic to topic as to what's the issue with, them saying that we're not, that's why y'all were slaves. And you have to look at it like, when you look at the whole issue of them talking about they weren't slaves and that's why we were slaves. And when you take the aspect of chattel slavery, they like to say that they didn't have chattel slavery in Africa. We thought that there was chattel slavery in Africa. When we learned about slavery here in the Americas, American blacks, we thought that this institution of black slavery happened to everybody around the globe that was phenotypically black, like through colonization. But out of your own words, you black immigrants and you white people, you all say that the institution of chattel slavery, the way that it was done in the United States, it wasn't going on like that in the other countries. Now that's interesting because the chattel slavery component is one of the main reasons why American blacks or FBAs have, what we call family reunions. So here's the groove with this. If American blacks are really from Africa and they were sold by other, tribal Africans who captured them and sold them to the Europeans for trinkets and, whatever little items that they felt were luxury items at the time. If American blacks are really from Africa, sold to Europeans centuries ago, or if, let me not do the or if, let me stick to it like that and I'll come around because it gets uglier with y'all trying to say it like that. But if they were sold to Europeans from other tribes in Africa, and then centuries later, y'all still hold on some kind of way of knowing, well, we didn't like those people then, And we still know who they are now. We still don't like them. We didn't like them when we sold them. So now they're over here in America and we still don't like them. See, that's real wicked. You see, that says something about the spirit. You see what I'm saying? You can't get around it. What this is saying is that you have had a perpetual hate towards us if we come from there, which I don't necessarily believe in entirety. I think some of them did. But regardless, if we come from there, and this is the ideology that you have from your own ancestors, that you know the people that you sold into slavery, and then centuries later, when you have the opportunity to be back around them, you still hold that ancient ideology from 5, 6, 7, 800 years ago. This is the spirit of it. This shows that spiritually, we're not the same people. Right? Now, here's the other side of it with the chattel slavery. Let's say that we are from there and y'all sold members of your own tribes and all this and that. And then centuries later, when you get back around these people, because we were taught that we were stolen from you guys. But then when you get over here and get back around American blacks, rather than having the feeling of, man, these are like the people that got stolen from us. I wonder what they like, and vice versa. We saying which is what we did. I wonder what our people are like back in Africa, only to find out that many of y'all didn't like us. But from your standpoint specifically and particularly, it's real evil, because if it's any other response or genuine curiosity of, man, these are the people that they stole from us. Like, man, I can't wait to see them, like a family reunion. This is why American black people have the family reunions, because of us being split up during slavery, with families being shipped all over the United States, children going one way, the parents going one way, the husband and wife going one way, aunts and uncles and everybody split up, and we had to hunt down and figure out a way to find out where our people were. And then we found out where they were when we get to the family reunion. Oh, you so-and-so? Oh, y'all from over? Oh, yeah. I remember Granny telling me this and that. It was always a thing of interest and love with us when we came back amongst our people who were displaced and lost within the United States due to slavery and slave labor. But in every turn, that's not what we're getting from the other phenotypically black people across the globe. That's not to say that it's all of them, but it's too many. It's too prevalent of a thing for it not to be a normalcy of everybody saying, oh, so y'all did this. So, man, what was it like when this and that? What did your granny and them tell y'all about slavery and this and that? And how come this and that? Like, y'all aren't asking that. That's real strange. You see, it speaks to the spirit of the people. You know, there's a passage in the Bible where it says, all of Israel is not Israel. Meaning that you could be looking at someone that looks just like you and they're not you. It's the spirit of it. So when I hear people say, yeah, that's why you were slaves. That's why y'all were slaves. And we came on planes and y'all came in chains. Ha, 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 ha. And it's not just phenotypically dark-skinned people saying it. You know, members of the Latino community say it. White people say it. Asians say it. So on and so forth. Like, this is the go-to to say against a people who have done nothing to you. Like, representation-wise, globally, numerically, this 13% of the American population is under a magnifying glass to the degree where 40 something million people, 50 something million people carry this much weight on a global population of billions. This is just the weirdest thing, man. It's the weirdest thing, and then to say that, that's why y'all were slaves. And that's why the white man did this to you. What about the Arabs who did whatever they did in Africa and forced so many of the African demographic into Islam? Like, so you're saying that we weren't slaves by white people, yet you were colonized. You were colonized, but you weren't enslaved in the same definition or institution wise as American blacks were in the United States. I'm just trying to figure this out. I'm trying to understand what was the situation of the apartheid then for as long as that went on. Okay, because so y'all weren't chattel slaves or just being oppressed. Like, is that not all one and the same, so to speak? And you may say, no, well, it's not the same. They didn't own us. I mean, if you're not controlling your own destinies and things like that, and you don't own the resources and the laws that are put in place, you follow them to your detriment while at the same time following them towards your colonizer's benefit. That's slavery. And I know people have spoke on the Godfrey thing and the actor, Oyewelo or whatever his last name is, with the whole thing of him saying that the American black way of speech, or the American black dialect, is really just a Nigerian dialect slowed down. And then, they're talking about it and laughing about it. And he's talking about, well, if you put a little bit of servitude on the way they talk, put a little bit of slavery on the way that they talk, it's, then that's how you get the American black dialect and vernacular. Like, this is insane. This is all that these people think about, and this is how they view us. So because we're saying, okay, now we're not taking that anymore. Now we're the divisive people. We're the reverse racists. Or you take the whole situation with the Juneteenth slavery reenactment mock play or reenactment in Ghana for Juneteenth, where they have all these slaves or portrayed slaves crying and screaming and on the ground, in chains, and with, reenactments of slave masters over them and all of this and that. The Ghana slavery reenactment for Juneteenth, a lot of American blacks or FBAs looked at that and felt that it was mockery, which it was, because it speaks directly to, what I'm saying of these people saying we weren't slaves. That's why you were slaves. So this is what they choose to do. Yet at the same time, you don't really express a genuine love for the people who you were claiming to be descended from as well, and who were stolen from there supposedly. You don't welcome them home. You don't force them to have a contrived citizenship. It all comes from economics. So the mockery of the American black slavery situation was definitely a mockery. But let me tell you what it was even more insidious. It was a spiritual position of indirectly and passive aggressively wishing slavery on American blacks once again. Because here's the deal. You weren't put into chains and sent into slavery if you're still over there primarily. You remained in that land. You remained in the land and remained with your people. So why are you reenacting the slavery part of it? When it didn't affect you, you're still there. You see what I'm saying? You're still there. But yet you're gonna act it out while at the same time not be saying to the people who you're supposed to be reenacting the situation of, yo, we love y'all, we miss y'all. You're just gonna reenact it, and yeah, it's real weird. Real wizardous, witcherous, warlocky, sorceress. It's got a real odd, connotation to it, coming from people who say we're not, or we weren't slaves. We don't have the history of slavery in us. And it's not said, just as a factual thing. We get, okay, it's a fact, but it's said as a slight, as a stone throw. Yeah, that's why y'all were slaves. So you're saying that to say what? Yeah, we were slaves. We never denied it. Yeah, we went into slavery. Sure did. And you think that we're embarrassed of that? Not at all. We're not embarrassed of it at all. Actually, we're very proud of our ancestors. We don't have any shame of what our ancestors went through. And that's the difference between us. See, while y'all are running, trying to escape the situations in your countries that, show your countries in bad light, we didn't run from none of that. We know what things we have to fix. And you got a lot of nerve to be talking about who's divisive and all this and that, when the entire phenotypically black land masses or states in Africa, all of y'all are tribal. You're talking about divisiveness over here in the Americans, in the Americas, amongst American blacks, while y'all have an extensive documented history of the tribalisms, even up until today, 2026. And the irony of it is, y'all are talking about us being divisive when, if what you say is true, that we came from over there and y'all sold us into slavery, out of your own mouth, y'all say that it was warring tribes that y'all went and sold into slavery. See, this is the biggest hypocritical standpoint that any of you can have. And I'm just, like I said, I'm waiting for anyone to show, particularly with my post that I put up, what statements that are made that are racist and racist agenda. That's my thing. And I find it funny that none of you will put a coherent post without the time wasting and the sarcasm and just the stupidity. Like, you can't put down a list that is empirical of what is inherently racist or a racist agenda. You can't do it. And like I said, for my things, if you say that in the comments, you're going to have to empirically show what it is, not just with me, with anybody that's standing for American blacks delineating. You have to put down what you feel are legitimate points as to why that's the case and empirically prove it. Or otherwise, and not that you care or whatever, because I ain't no master channel, but failure to do that, your comments will be deleted and you will be blocked. But I just find it funny that, people will say we weren't slaves. Y'all were slaves. And see, that's why y'all were slaves. Interesting. But that's it. I'm out.
Throb forever. Yo, Throb.